I want to name all the reasons that people should feel optimistic about the 2025 49ers. I know we haven't done the offseason yet or free agency or the draft, but looking ahead, knowing what this team should sort of look like, what are all the reasons that we can think of that fans, players, coaches should feel optimistic about next year, next season?
Let's start. Well, let's do one at a time. The first one I think that jumps to mind for me is the schedule. They had the hardest schedule in the NFL according to like opponents. But this next year, they might have the easiest schedule in the NFL. The Falcons, the Panthers, the Jaguars, the Titans, the Bears, the Saints. I mean, the Giants. I think the schedule is one reason to be optimistic about the 49ers. They could be the same exact team they were this year and still have a better record than they did last year based on the schedule.
They could be like not better, but better at the same time. Right.
Yeah. So I still think schedule is a good one to list on here.
I think schedule's a great call. And that's sort of like one of the perks of being bad or having a bad record. The NFL rewards you for that. And the other thing is they're going to have a top 11 pick. And there's a chance they don't mess it up. And that guy could be like a really big impact player at a position of need. Who knows? Maybe they get a franchise offensive tackle or defensive end or defensive tackle, or maybe they find George Kittle's heir apparent. It seems like there's going to be a tight end there who's going to be really good. I don't know. It seems like they have the opportunity to not mess this one up. As long as they don't get the next, I won't say it.
They have a 30% chance of not messing it up, which is that's a 30% chance to be optimistic about the first round draft.
Hell yeah, I love that, man. That's like a Draymond Green 3-point shot.
Yeah, man. So yeah, that is a good one. I think another one is the rookies. The rookies this year, the draft. I was impressed with Ricky Pearsall, what he did last week. We didn't get to see that much of it. I assume he's going to have a full offseason this coming season, and we might be able to see more of what we saw last week from Ricky Pearsall. That was very encouraging. Dominic Pooney, obviously we know how good he is. In his second year, I imagine he's going to get stronger, and that's going to help him as well. And then Malik Mustafa, Renardo Green, like those are reasons to be encouraged. And maybe Cowing can actually get a little love in the passing game. So I think the rookies this year is a reason to be optimistic next year.
Definitely. Ricky Pearsall's game this last week makes you feel confident that he could do something next year. I think here's another one. Finally, Ricky Pearsall emerging and giving the 49ers giving them the license and the confidence to finally move on from Deebo Samuel. I think when he went 3 catches on 11 targets in the Super Bowl, that should have been the end. They should have quietly traded him a couple months later. It's over. But they brought him back and they tried to prove to themselves that he was still useful. And I think he did more harm than good to this team on the field, on the sideline, in the locker room, during his podcast. I think he should have been gone, stayed a year too long. And just the fact that he won't be here anymore, complaining after wins, asking for more targets, choking the long snapper, all that stuff, I think it'll really help the Niners for him not to be here anymore.
Okay, so I have a couple questions on this one. Do you think he's not going to be here? Like, do you really think that? Because I'm not sure.
Here's what gives me confidence that he won't be here. This last game, when they finally pretty much buried him in the pecking order, gave him 1 target, it was a shovel pass. Like, you're not a wide receiver anymore. We'll let you play a little bit of running back, and we'll give you a jet sweep and call it a catch, although it could have easily been a jet sweep. But no, 10 targets to freaking Jawan Jennings, 10 targets to Ricky Pearsall. That's the future. That's what gives me confidence.
You know what they say about divorce? It's cheaper to keep her. Like, it might be cheaper to keep him, though, right? Like, here's the thing.
No, because he costs you in the locker room. He costs you with his malcontent. He costs you by the baby punches that he gives out to people. I mean, he'll be 4th on the depth chart next year when Ayuk comes back. I mean, I don't even know how he'll be a running back next year. He'll be a freaking running back, and I don't think they need him to play that position.
I think they should move on him.
He's a good kick returner.
I think they should move on from him for the reasons that you mentioned. I'm just not confident they do. But what I hope happens is that they do. Like, he's just like he's he's spice, right? Like when you're cooking, Debo's spice. Like if you just put a little spice, a little Debo here and there, like short slant passes, end arounds, like 2 or 3 touches a game.
But
He
they're
could
just
help.
like ton of Debo.
Yeah, just like Lowry's just
Yeah.
pouring it on there. That's what Kyle's doing right now. He needs to
Yeah.
chill a little bit, and just
Yeah.
a little dash of Debo. And I think that
But I don't know when to put Debo in the recipe now, because like on a jet sweep, I think I'd rather give it to someone faster, like Cowing, who isn't allowed to play offense. I don't know. Okay, look, maybe Debo will be on the team, but I'm trying to feel optimistic. All right, I'm trying to be optimistic right now.
All right.
So I'm gonna live in the world where he's gone, where this is his last game and he gets 1 touch in this game and it's a run.
Yeah. All right.
Okay.
All right. So we need another one. You think Debo's going? Brandon Ayuk possibly returning. It sounds like Brandon Ayuk from what I heard. I don't know if you saw him, but
I was there.
You were there. How did
He was
Brandon
shooting
Ayuk look?
I wouldn't say jumpers, but like set 3-point shots, because no one really takes a full jump when you're shooting a 3.
Yeah, that was Michael Jordan's era. The Michael Jordan used to really jump when he did jump shots. Like,
yes,
they don't do that anymore. But I'm actually encouraged. But it sounds like he's doing better than I expected at this point. That's encouraging. Hopefully, he can return at some point. Because I looked at the numbers statistically. I think actually the doc sent him. I don't know why his name slips my mind right now. He put up statistics on people that have had Brandon Ayuk's injury and what their timeline looks like. And he said that based on that, we wouldn't even see Brandon Ayuk until December. But it sounds like he's recovering slightly ahead of that schedule. So maybe we'll see a Brandon Ayuk return slightly earlier. Now, will he be the same? Brandon Ayuk, that's a different question, but at least it might happen a little earlier.
Yeah. And they shouldn't be in a position where they're like forcing him. I mean, they never gave him that many targets to begin with anyway, not to be sarcastic, but he was never a huge part of the offense. He was an important part of the offense. And when he comes back, Debo should be gone. Pearsall and Jennings should be entrenched. Kittle should still be here. And he could be like one hell of a 4th option to have at baseline. And maybe he could be the best wide receiver on the team again. So him returning, and then of course McCaffrey returning. I don't know if he'll ever be what he used to be, but there should be a full off season of McCaffrey, no holdout, no setbacks, OTAs, mini camp, training camp,
Germany,
like 2023. That should be good.
I hope so. I'm cautiously optimistic about CMC. Hopefully he gets back to that same CMC we saw in the past. I don't know. Hopefully. One reason I'm optimistic is I think they're going to move on from Jake Brendel. I don't think he's going to be the center next year for the 49ers. I think even the 49ers now have to see that it's time to move on from Jake Brendel. So that's why I'm feeling optimistic. Maybe I'm tripping, but
I love that your side quest is getting Jake Brendel replaced. Yeah, it's fair enough. I mean, it's on the list of things that the Niners need to do. Okay. Yeah. Sorry, Jake. There's a lot more reasons too. Like
a ton.
Well, they're gonna get a new special teams coordinator, and he probably couldn't be worse than the current one.
Yes, it can't be. A lot of reasons to be optimistic is that's the reason, right? It can't be worse, right?
I got more. Yeah. Hold on.
The D line can't be worse. The D line can't be worse next year. All those guys that they brought on, Malik Collins, why am I slipping? All the guys that they brought in, the free agents, Yatir, Gross Matos, Leonard Floyd. All those guys are coming back.
Yeah,
and I assume they're going to get more guys, so that has to improve. I would imagine.
I got another one. There should be fewer, if not zero, holdouts this year. And I think you could argue that because Lynch said it, they can't just chalk this up to there were injuries, because the Lions had injuries and they're 14-2. There was something messed up about this season, and you could call it the Super Bowl hangover or whatever, but all those holdouts kind of set the tone that, like, personal needs go before the team. And I think that's not something that they're going to have next year. They're going to set the tone that the team comes first, and it's going to be like that all offseason. Now, it doesn't mean that Brock is going to get his extension right away, but I don't think he's going to hold out. And I don't think there's going to be these like weird standoffs between players, because if there are, the Niners are nuts. That's one lesson they should have learned.
I think that's a good one. I got a great one. No Devondre Campbell.
Whew.
it's either going to, and hopefully it's Greenlaw. If Greenlaw is back, if he has a whole offseason to rest and get healthy and get his legs right and they can bring him back, that's a huge reason to be optimistic. And even if for some reason it's not Greenlaw, it won't be Devondre Campbell. And I think that's a big reason to be optimistic.
Yeah, there's a world where next year's defense has Greenlaw starting in it and a top 10, 11 pick at D tackle or D end, in addition to Bosa. And all of a sudden you're looking at a front seven that's mediocre to a front seven that's really good again. That could absolutely be the case.
Yeah. I got another one.
And then there's like just the fact that they did like the Super Bowl hangover. I don't know if it's what that is, but it's a short off season for sure with depression. I mean, I don't know, football depression, obviously.
Yeah.
So now you have like an extra month to sort of heal your body, cleanse your palate mentally, and be ready. And not just ready, but like up for the next season. And I think Deebo Samuel mentioned that there was kind of like this depressing malaise hanging over the team. And if Dan Campbell sets the tone with his emotion and his mentality, then I think you could say that Kyle Shanahan does as well. Every head coach does. And maybe he was a little depressed about losing the Super Bowl the way that they did. I mean, how could he not be? And maybe that carried over to his players, and maybe that'll finally be exercised from the organization next season.
I think that is a big one, dude. I think that might be one of the biggest from the health standpoint, mental standpoint. Like they might actually, when the season comes back, they actually might be excited to play football again instead of on that negative part.
The whole year they're like, that's a big mountain we got to climb. Like, oh my God, you don't hear the freaking Lions talking about what a mountain this is. That's your burden.
Here's one. They'll have a new kicker. They'll have a new kicker.
I'm so glad we didn't forget that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's a definite reason to be optimistic. I can't see how I think he's 10 for 18, which is awful.
Do you think that they'll cut Moody early in the process, or do you think they'll keep him and have like a competition?
B. Oh. And he better not win it. What's going to happen, he'll probably win the competition, and then once the other guy's gone, he'll get back to 2024 Jake Moody.
Okay. All right. Are there any other okay, how about Nick Sorensen will still be here.
Here's the thing. I think if Robert Saleh, here's what the 49ers should do. They should go get Robert Saleh, pay him whatever you need to pay him, and say, hey, look, Nick, you did a good job, man, but Robert Saleh, can help you learn as we go, and we want to bring back Robert. He's a part of the family, blah, blah, blah. If they can do that, that would be a huge reason to be optimistic. I don't know if that happens.
Yeah, that would be huge. I wonder if they could pull that off. Jeff Ulbrich wouldn't really do much, but Robert Saleh would be a big addition. Maybe they get Steve Wilkes back.
The vibes in the defensive room for the 49ers would be high if Robert Saleh came back. And I'm not saying they hate Nick Sorensen or anything like that, but they love Robert Saleh. So bringing him back would be fantastic.
And then I think, maybe I'm wrong, but I think if the Niners do give Brock Purdy this big extension, that they will make big investments in the offensive line. I don't see how you can make an investment in the quarterback position and not make investments in the offensive line in the same offseason. It seems like it's like buying a house and buying earthquake insurance at the same time. Like it goes hand in hand. Here's
another reason. Aaron Banks will be gone.
Sorry.
And he had a bad year. And I hate to say that. I liked Aaron Banks the first 2 years. This last year was really bad. And I think they can improve over Aaron Banks because he's going to be leaving. If they can replace Banks and Brindle, that could be huge for the 49ers. If they can upgrade at those positions, that's a big one. Another one I want to point out too. If Brock Purdy gets paid, maybe he's got a little bit more power. Maybe Brock Purdy is now not such a – it feels like he has to please Kyle and now can actually do it, be a little bit more assertive, be able to take a little bit more control. If he's making more money than Kyle Shanahan, that changes the dynamics a little bit, and that could be a good thing.
Also, I think it's fair to assume that they're going to get a better backup quarterback, unless Dobbs tears it up on Sunday, which he might. This is his audition. But I think Brandon Allen had his audition. It was awful. He can go. Josh Dobbs, maybe, but I think they might go back to what they did couple years ago when they brought in Sam Darnold, a guy who was the 3rd pick in the draft. Like, why don't you shoot a little higher? Try to bring someone in who has some actual talent, some actual potential, who might be able to realize it here the way that Darnold may have been able to if he had gotten a chance.
I think that Dobbs is better than people give him credit for. So I do agree, though. The quarterback room will be better. Getting rid of Allen will be better. Hopefully it's like Tanner Mordecai and somebody else. But I do think Dobbs is not bad, man.
Here's a prediction. Dobbs is not coming back to this team.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know. I haven't talked to him, but I have a feeling that he feels.
I don't think he wants to. Why would you want to?
Are you kidding?
Yeah. You sit behind Brandon Allen? Hell no.
Yeah. Hell no. I wouldn't do that.
Yeah.
Nothing against Brandon.
Yeah.
Did we miss any reasons to feel optimistic about this team? The Super Bowl will be in Santa Clara next year.
I got one. I got one.
What? Okay.
The 49ers are usually either making the NFC Championship game or having losing seasons.
Okay.
Under Kyle
so they're not going to have another losing season.
Not till the year after next. Not till the year after next. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Okay. And you know what? Like, Kyle may have something to prove. Like, he didn't exactly get an extension this year. No one's saying he did a great job. Maybe he comes back with a chip on his shoulder. It's like, I haven't gotten an extension in 18 months. This is crap.
No.
You get another one.
Yeah.
Possible. I mean,
it's year 9.
Complacent Kyle isn't the best, but a Kyle who hasn't gotten an extension in a year and a half, who knows? Maybe that's the best Kyle.
I mean, we talked about them having more time off. I think the same thing is for Kyle, and I think he's got to be – the urgency's got to be there, right, for Kyle. Like, you're entering year 9. I mean, even Kyle's got to understand that everyone's on a timeline in this league. Even Kyle Shanahan is on a timeline in this league, and if you don't eventually do what you were brought here to do, which is win a Super Bowl after year 9, so maybe the urgency is there for Kyle this coming year.
Maybe the urgency is there for Kyle this year. I think I like that. That's an optimistic take.